Well, hey now, it's the Rob from 106.1 KISS FM and 103 GBF. Alongside my tag team partner in podcasting, the man of 1,000 holds. Please welcome to the show, Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Please refer me to the name given to me by Chris Jericho, Stinko Malenko.
Harry Valeri.
I loved that feud, the Jericho Malenko feud, with when he was doing the interview with the cardboard cutout. That was fun.
Yes, we're talking the Nitro days, right?
The Nitro days, man of 1,001 holds.
Armbar. Oh man, I've been excited for today's episode because, man, I mean, am I speaking for both of us when I say Raw's been on a roll?
On a roll, really picked it up. Really. I mean, they're on the road to WrestleMania. This is big stuff.
So I took notes last night because there's actually stuff to talk about.
Wow, man. They started really strong. They ended with big stuff. Every segment that they wanted to mean something meant something. They're really building to a lot of programs. It's cool.
Okay, let's start at the tippy top. You said they started strong. Okay, so I have mixed opinions about the opening of the show.
Okay.
I do think it was a strong segment, and if I were in charge of the WWE, I wouldn't have probably done anything differently. But there's
after having consumed the entire segment, I can say that it went well. When it was first starting, I thought it was a little rocky. I thought the crowd wasn't into it at all. I thought that was a terrible crowd anyways, in general. But I thought that the crowd wasn't into it, and nobody's giving Roman Reigns any slack. And that hurts. And I was thinking how much more fun this program would be if people actually cared about Roman Reigns.
Okay, yeah, that's not where my disconnect from the segment happened. So I did have a little bit of a hard time getting into it. Although once we got to where we were getting to, which was, I mean, listen, the visual of Brock assaulting a handcuffed Roman Reigns and tossing him around and just beating him lifelessly,
mercilessly for a while,
was a really strong one. And that positive outweighs all the negatives. Sorry about that. Did you hear anything?
And I'm not allowed to sing. He's playing full intros.
Hey, that was safe.
Okay.
So sorry about that. So I want to say that all that positive outweighs any of the negatives, I'm going to say. But I watch, with a critical eye, as I think a lot of the people who watch this show do. Probably were less casual of fans than the average person who consumes Raw. But psychologically, if wrestling was real standpoint, holy cow, let me poke some of the holes in what happened during the first segment of Raw last night.
Well, the biggest hole is going to be the Marshals, right? The U.S. Marshals coming out. That's a big hole.
There's so much this is what I've come up with. So here we go.
This all boils down to what are you willing to let go? How much belief are you willing to suspend?
Again, so I understand the point, and it was a good segment, I suppose, but let me just let me Swiss cheese this for you and poke a few holes if you don't mind.
Poke,
as Jerry mentioned, the fact that the U.S. Marshals would be called to get one wrestler out of a ring. My God, do I love wrestling. Multiple U.S. Marshals are called because Roman Reigns won't leave a ring during a TV show.
Well, if he is indeed dealing steroids in the back, then the U.S. Marshals were definitely called for.
I didn't know if it was a work or a shoot at first with all these cops coming to arrest Roman.
Maybe the ATF should have showed up.
So when the U.S. Marshals come out, this is so great. Roman just offers his wrists. They don't have to attack him or coerce him. He's just like, here, put the handcuffs on. Here you go. But then when one of the guys touches his back to escort him out, he's like, don't you touch me, man. Don't you touch. So The guy who just offered his wrists to be handcuffed has a problem with a pat on the back. I'm loving this so far.
I feel like any low-level criminal would advise you that if you are planning on resisting arrest, do it before they cuff you.
Right. And not only that, remember how adamant he was about not leaving the ring till Brock shows up and just he's just like, arrest me. I'm sorry. I've done it. Just put me in the handcuffs.
When they cuffed him in the front, I knew he was going to attack them. I didn't think Brock was coming out, but you typically cuff him in the back.
There's no typically about it. I've seen every episode of Cops. They always arrest. They put your hands behind your back. There's no
when they cuff him like this, I'm like, okay, he's set up to use a weapon here. I don't know. You could poke holes. Do you want to keep poking holes?
Oh yes. Hold on. My top paragraph is all about this segment.
You've got to suspend disbelief, Rob.
I know, but listen. Let me talk. Let me do this, please. He starts assaulting the U.S. Marshals, and the announcers are selling this like it's a wrestling match, and not even a very exciting one. Like on Cops, it gets more lit when a guy attacks a police officer than on Raw. I mean, it just looked crazy to me. Let's see.
Because it didn't look like U.S. Marshals either. That's always my problem. It's like, could they get guys that look less like indie wrestlers? Like they just always do.
So then, well, that's a very good point too. Yeah, they look nothing like cops and more like wrestlers. You're absolutely right. And then, so here's the other thing. So Roman beats them all up. All the U.S. Marshals are scattered about. Brock comes out and starts attacking Roman. And the Marshals are totally cool with this, mind you.
Fine.
They're totally fine with this assault that's happening with the steel chair. And not only that, I guess Brock laid it into him so much that they just give up with Roman. They just forget this whole arresting him thing. No big, forget this whole attacking the U.S. Marshals thing. Brock's got it.
Why arrest him? Let's just go in the back, guys. We're done.
Like that's just not the way the world works. And I did have a problem with that and those elements of the segment. However, for the highlight reels, for all the video packages leading up to WrestleMania, and for the end being, we needed Brock to beat up a handcuffed Roman Reigns. It was a cool segment, but I got to be the guy that's like, let's be real here for a second. Wrestling's real. No. And I'll stop now.
I had a lot of fun with that segment. Boy, if you can poke holes in this, you're going to take a steamer of a crap on the last segment. I enjoyed it. And I loved when Brock came out because I didn't think that was happening. I figured he was going to show up during the show. I never expected it to be right there. I thought they were going to drag it on a little bit. And when he ran out to his music and just made a beeline to the ring, they've done a very good job of making Brock more unlikable because he was one of those heels everyone cheered anyways, and he's getting more boos now, and I get that. But Roman's still not getting cheered, no matter how sympathetic they make him. I don't know if it's going to work the way they want it to when he finally climbs that mountain at WrestleMania.
Just very effective use of Brock last night. I don't know what to expect at Mania as far as how I guess I do know how the crowd's going to take it. I think that the crowd at WrestleMania will boo Roman, but they're also not big Brock fans right now. So it's interesting, and I've also, to amend kind of what we started talking about last week, I don't want Brock to go necessarily. I just don't want him to be champ. I like him used sparingly. I don't like the championship being as absent as it is.
Right.
I guess. So, that's the way I feel about that.
It'll go on Roman for a little while, and eventually this end of 2018 or 2019, eventually Cena's going to get number 17. So wherever it lands at WrestleMania, it's not going to stay there for long. Yeah,
I was reading something in a Wrestling Observer about that number 17, how Ric Flair's got 16 title wins and John Cena also has 16 title wins. Meltzer made a really funny point that I haven't actually gone and fact checked, but like he says, I still have no idea where they get the number 16 from, because like if you combine like WWE and WCW ones, I don't get, like, he's like, there's no world title number. You can get to a number, you can get to like 18, or you can get to like 14, or I forget what numbers he used, but he's like, there's no system I can use to get 16 for Ric Flair.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know where that number came from, and I'd be curious if anyone has any input on that.
16 times. Well, did he get any before? I mean, Meltzer's counting NWA, WCW, and WWFE, right?
I think even other things, potentially, like he said, you can get as high as even more than 16, but yet if you're being consistent with your logic, you can't get to 16. So I don't know. I haven't gone and checked his math, but that's something I thought was kind of interesting.
I feel like if that dude says it, he's not wrong. Like, he might be wrong about opinions, and he might be wrong about rumors.
Oh, sure,
but,
yeah.
But I don't think he's ever wrong about facts.
So the listeners don't know this. I sent you a handful of some of the more common observers.
Loving them. I've read 2 of them now.
What's the set? So you read the first one you read was the screw job, which how amazing is that coverage?
I'm telling you, it's constantly giving me new information, and I thought I knew everything there was to know about it. And the other one was the steroid trial, because you recommended it, and I didn't think I was going to be interested in that one, but I really was.
It is, isn't it good? That was my thought too. I was holding, because he's got a list of his most popular issues, and that's like, I want to say it's number 2 or top 5. And
I also like reading about the pay-per-views, like the WCW pay-per-views that are going on, or the WWE pay-per-views that went on, and like the best match, the worst match, and the stars and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you're liking them. All right, after that, we had some good work from Alexa Bliss. Again, I'm speaking for myself, but I thought she did a good job on the mic last night. She's
the best woman on the mic right now.
Oh, she's so good. Yeah,
that's all there is to it. And what they're doing with her and Nia Jax, I think is awesome. It's really working.
Yeah.
The note I made last night was like, yeah, of course, it's easy to say Alexa Bliss is super hot, but man, Mickie James still is too.
You know, I made a note about someone being hot last night, and it wasn't either one of them. I mean, my God, Mandy Rose. Holy cow. I mean, I can't, I don't know how to behave when she comes on my television screen.
I call women like that Kelly Who's.
Kelly Who's?
Kelly who? Who's Kelly? Because that's my wife. Yeah.
I won't go that far back.
They are, whew, she's smoking hot, dude. Kelly who? Oh, her, my wife.
For those who are in on the joke, Jerry is married to a Kelly.
Who?
Sometimes you get me. Sometimes you know right where to push me.
Sometimes.
They made the match with Nia Jax official last night, which I think was a good move, because my understanding was they had to pull the trigger on Bliss and Jax or Bayley and Banks. There's so many B names.
Yeah.
And I think that was the right choice. I think we can hold off. If we have to hold off on Bayley and Banks, that's the better one to hold off on, in my personal opinion.
I don't mind that one having a slow burn. I feel like Alexa and Nia have been burning for a while, and it's time to pull the trigger on that.
We're deeper in the woods with Nia and Bliss. So if you're only going to give me one of those matches, give me Bliss and Jax, please.
What I find interesting is looking at all the matches and all the title matches for both brands. I'm not saying that's where I'm going to land, but right now I could make a case for every single title changing hands at Mania.
Well, listen, if it's going to do it, if one show is going to have every title change hands, it's going to be Mania.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't even start getting into predictions mode because the card is still so up in the air.
It's up in the air. We don't even know who's going to be with Braun Strowman. I am disappointed that Braun's not going to be by himself.
I made that same exact note.
Like I really wanted that, and that still could happen.
I think that there's a chance.
But I think they're going to use it to bring back somebody that we've been missing for a while, like as a surprise. I was trying to think of who could come back.
Oh, there's a few names.
I thought I don't know Dean Ambrose's status.
Ambrose is probably a no.
I don't know Big Cass's status.
Cass is a very good choice.
I mean, they would be monsters, those two.
Well, what about Joe?
Samoa Joe would be a great choice, but different philosophies for guys. But people would go crazy if Braun Strowman brought out Samoa Joe and they were tag champs.
I still think you're right, though. The way to go is just Braun solo.
It would just be fun. You don't have to have him be champ forever, but to have the image of him walking to the ring with two belts.
Or just like, there's still a way you could have fun with it. Like, give him a partner that, like, either doesn't do anything or even works against him. So it's kind of like Braun overcoming 3 men to win the tag team title.
Like, bring back Ellsworth.
Yeah,
or a great place for Ellsworth.
Or someone who will eventually turn on him. Like, I don't know if there was like a third member of the bar or whatever. I don't know.
Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe would turn on him.
Like, imagine if it were the Club in there and, he made his partner Finn Balor or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Just freestyling here. Stuff that will never happen. Let's see. Oh, I loved, this was so great. Because we mentioned before, in fact, on the last Raw recap, I said, I don't know about naming that women's battle royal after Fabulous Moolah. Here in 2018, that might not be the best idea.
I did not know her sordid history. Everyone seems to have known that, but me.
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of come out. I don't know if it's like after she died. I don't even really remember when she died. I think I saw a documentary on it on like Stars or something. I don't.
Because if you don't know it and you were just a fan of Attitude Era Wrestling, you have a soft spot for Mae Young and Moolah. You just do.
Well, they really celebrated her as being like a real pioneer and almost someone who really helped women wrestlers. But my understanding is, according to the allegations, this is far from true. Out. Yeah. I mean, do you kind of feel caught up on that story?
I do feel caught up on it now. And the allegations are really disgusting.
Yeah, if you're not caught up on it, basically the reason that they changed the name from the Fabulous Moolah women's battle royal,
and Snickers had a big hand in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, because Snickers tweeted about this and they weren't pleased because they were getting a negative backlash too, because that's the way people work nowadays.
Yeah, you
always follow the money, and basically Moolah has been accused. And I think, again, I want to say this was posthumously or whatever the word is, after she died, of being like a pimp, essentially. So basically, if you were a female wrestler prior to, I'll say 1986, you were trained by Moolah, you were managed by Moolah. Moolah was really the go-to to any promoter who needed a woman's wrestler. And Moolah would oftentimes take too much money from the girls. Allegedly, she would send them into situations where they knew they were going to get raped.
She and her husband.
She also allegedly, I think she would sometimes barter sex with her girls to promoters to get bookings. That's a lot of really bad allegations.
It's a bad look.
And especially in 2018 with everything going on, I was like, I could not believe they named it that.
And now it's just what? The
WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal.
Okay.
So there was a few video packages that were celebrating, quote, all women. And it's just so conspicuous by her absence. Whereas if this were last year, Moolah would have been seen 3 times in that video.
She might have been the last shot too.
And the first.
Yeah.
Now she's nowhere to be seen.
Nowhere to be found. I wonder if there's a Moolah statue trophy hiding out now that they'll never get to use, like they do for Andre. They have that Andre.
They put some poor intern on. Hey, we need you to work on the Andre trophy. Make one of Moolah. And the kid spends all weekend on it, working it, to spray painting it gold, putting it on top of a big trophy. And then the news comes out that he's like, oh crap.
Now it's in the warehouse with everything else that no one will ever see.
It's with the Toxic Turtles costumes.
I wish to God they'd open up a Hall of Fame, like a building with all the stuff from the warehouse in it. That would be amazing.
Oh, yeah, this past weekend.
Sure.
Conrad straight up asked Bruce, is he going to come back as the badass? That sound was great.
Woohoo! What did Uncle Brucey say?
Bruce said he doesn't think so. And Conrad says, why do you feel that way? And Bruce says, no one wants to see that. And I agree. And I just have to think that that's going to win out. I'm using the same logic as Bruce. It's just no one wants to see that. And this could potentially be his last match. I think he wants it to be the Dead Man. Yeah,
you don't want the last match ever to be as the American Badass. They probably are. Would you agree that they're at least discussing it in the back?
Yes. Yes.
Would you agree that if the Undertaker said, I'm only doing it as a badass, that they'd bend to his will?
Yes.
Do you think that's something he'd want? I mean, he wanted that angle to begin with. I think he has a certain personal affinity towards it because it's more him.
Yes, I think if he had his preference, he likes being the badass more than he likes being the dead man. But I think that he knows, and I think everyone knows, I'll use the term, the WWE universe, we like the dead man.
I'd compromise. Would you compromise?
No. What is your compromise?
Cena keeps it up for another 2 weeks, and the Raw before Mania, he comes out on the motorcycle and kicks Cena's ass. But at Mania, he comes out as the dead man.
That's bad. That's still bad.
It's
still bad.
It's so bad. There's nothing that makes you. Are you starting to think that I'm right, though? Are you starting to think that we're getting closer to the badass?
I'm getting less confident as we get closer to Mania, but I'm still sticking by my guns.
It was a good promo by Cena. I hated the use of Kane there, but I see why they did it.
Do you have a hard out in 6 minutes? Do you have to get out of here in 6 minutes?
No, but I have a hard out in 16 minutes.
Okay, well let's get to the Ultimate Deletion.
Okay.
I'm dying to know what you think. Dying to know what you think.
This one's tough.
I agree.
They gave it about 25 minutes. We were afraid they were going to give it 30. They gave it close to 25 all told.
Okay, what does that mean? Starting when to when?
Well, if you take out all the intro, and I like the little things, the snippets leading up to the actual Ultimate Deletion. I like the thing with the giraffe. I like I didn't mind the thing at home, and then spacing it out to the show. But from 10:51 my time to 11:14 my time. So there's 23 minutes of Ultimate Deletion. There was a commercial break in there, but it was all Ultimate Deletion from that point on. That was a lot of Ultimate Deletion.
I couldn't believe my eyes, only in the respect that I can't believe they gave this the okay.
I can't believe they gave it the okay. I did not like when Michael Cole led into it by saying, I'm sorry for what you're about to see. I thought that was a weird way for him to intro this. Either you guys believe in it or you don't.
Well, I thought that was Corey Graves. That was Michael Cole?
Michael Cole said that.
Okay.
Sorry for what you're about to see.
It feels like a Corey Graves line.
I hated some of it. I didn't hate it all. In fact, I enjoyed a lot of it, and it had me laughing. I hated the whole Benny Hill part. Like when it was like and running around those terrible Halloween decorations that Jeff Hardy made in his garage. And I think they could have done without the room with the wrestling ring. The Dome of Deletion with the mower was so campy and terrible. I get it. You're supposed to relax and have some fun, and it's going to be weird. It's unapologetically crazy and weird, and I like that. But there were no big enough. There weren't spots big enough to warrant 23 minutes.
There was really no payoff to this.
They needed to cut from the Bray Wyatt Shaq to the water. You'd cut 9 minutes out of it. It would have been better. I liked it. I didn't love it. The first one was better, and I thought the first one wasn't great. So there you have it. I liked seeing Jeff Hardy for a second.
I'm not a fan of things that really make wrestling look fake. And with the special effects, and I can get past the weird characters. I can get past like I can deal with the drone, but I can't deal with the drone when it starts doing magic stuff. You know, I can even kind of deal with the drone firing a missile, but like when it starts, you know, identifying people and starts like, you know, when Matt Hardy's face appears over top of it, I can't. Man, I can't.
Vanguard 1. And what do you think of like Senor Benjamin being underneath the canoe?
I don't even know what that was. Like, what is that, a person?
Senor Benjamin is like his, I don't know, his gardener. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's just the thing. It's like I will say I was intently watching it and I was not bored while watching it. So like, that's good. But do I want another one? Oh my God, no. I don't want another one.
I've heard a few people say that they gave it an A. And I was like, I would not give it an A. I would not even come close to that.
Oh no, it's closer to an F for me than an A.
Poor Bray Wyatt. Like I just hope that now him being drowned in the lake of reincarnation means he comes back with a different twist, because I think he needs it desperately.
It sounds like a Dungeons and Dragons game. Like he was in the lake of reincarnation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't, man, with this. It's like, I get it. I get it's entertainment. I know that I'm the old fuddy-duddy who I like it to be presented as real. And I know that Bray's been subject to stuff like, I remember the House of Horrors. I remember
this was better than the House of Horrors.
It was more watchable than the House of Horrors.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. But I don't want any more of this. I'm over the broken thing. I gave it my best shot to like it. I just rather have the Hardys, I feel like. I
liked it, but I didn't love it. And there were parts that I hated. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, because I kind of feel that way too. Like, I mean, I was watching intently and I was never bored, but it's just not what I want on wrestling. Maybe I need it in some, I don't know. Maybe
but
I
like
have a hard time
explaining
it.
Chair of wheels, mower of lawns, chair of wheels, mower of lawns. And then he gets on this tractor that's smaller than the one I use for my yard. Like, that's not scary, dude. Like, I wouldn't even be worried about running my kids over on that thing.
Evan who?
Yeah.
All right.
So it was a bit of a swing and a miss, but I can't believe Vince okayed
it. That's my thing. I'm like, I can't believe and for as long as they did, and it was the main event spot. And which, by the way, I learned an interesting thing from Travis, who texted me last night. The fans who were in the arena, my understanding is they did not see the Ultimate Deletion.
What did they get?
They got Ronda Rousey in person.
I think I might have rather had that.
Well, anything but the final Deletion. I mean, I'm glad I watched it. I'm cool with it once, but I do not want any more of this. It's actually saying I'm cool with it once is maybe giving it too much credit. But I don't know. Call me old-fashioned. I want it to be. Make me believe what you're doing, please.
Listen, you are so old-fashioned. When you're poking holes in the U.S. Marshals at the top of the show, I know you're about to drop trowels and take a steaming dump all over the Deletion.
I'm curious to see where they go from here. I don't even know what happens in a lake of reincarnation.
You get reincarnated.
Yeah, but what does that even mean? And he wasn't even in there, so who even? Like, I just can't with this, man. I don't have enough sci-fi knowledge to know what happens in a dome of Deletion. I tried, guys. With Broken Matt, you can't say I didn't give him my best shot. I gave him my best shot.
Rob is woken to the fact that sucked.